Well guys, in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to script on Roblox, specifically for beginners, put you in the world of coding, what you need to do. In today's video, we're going to be going over variables, player, characters, user input service, etc. We're also going to be going over connector functions, showing you guys the difference between a server and a client. Also some tween servers. I'm also going to be giving you a very special gift at the end, so make sure to watch the whole video because you do not want to miss this out. But yeah guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started with some very simple things. Now also, before we start, I do want to mention that if you guys want to go ahead and dive deeper into this world of scripting and want to know a lot more advanced stuff, because again, I cannot cover everything in this video, otherwise the video would be like 20, 50, 40 hours long. So yeah, if you are interested in going a lot more in depth, I'm gonna leave the first link in the description to my academy, where I basically teach Lua from like zero to hero, so you guys can literally go from being a zero noob to a literal professional scripter. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into the video. Alright guys, so first of all, I'm going to show you some code structure and where you should be putting your scripts, where they should be located, etc. So there's two types of scripts, which are local scripts and server scripts, and there's also a third type, which are called module scripts, which we won't go through in this video. But basically, for now, all you need to know is that there are two types of scripts, a local and server scripts. So guys, as you can see right here, Roblox uses a client server model, which is basically something like this. Okay, so as you can see, this picture right here explains it very well. So your whole game runs on the server, so everything everyone is looking at, everything everyone's observing runs on one server, which is hosted on the Roblox network. When you pop up a game, so when you go ahead and press play, you download a copy to your desktop, and you basically have the game as a copy, and basically every single player who joins is a client, right? So this is the server, and they download a copy from the server, and every single person is basically a client, right? So these are all the connections, and all of these detect the server. So basically, if I go ahead and move a part on the server, if I let's say move this player, for example, every one of these people will see that that player is moved, because again, it is connected, as you can see with these gray lines right there. And basically, yeah, so every time we update something on the server, everyone sees this change on their client, right? So if there's 100 players, every 100 players will see that happening. But if we go ahead and let's say move this person to the right, so this one would be like going back. If we move from this client, so if this guy is playing right here and we move it on the client, so if we use a local script and we move him, what's gonna happen is nothing's gonna happen here, nothing's gonna happen here, nothing's gonna happen here. The only copy, which is the copy you're playing at, is the one that's gonna be moving that character. So basically, that's how this thing functions, and it's basically something like this. So you can communicate from your own player to the server, from the server to your own player, and from the server to all the players, to basically make changes inside of the game that will benefit what you're doing. So for example, let's say if you want to go ahead and make a part turn another color to all the players, you do it on the server. And you do it on the server and fire it to all the clients, and then that part can be observed by everyone else. But if you do, let's say you just want to make a part for one player, you would fire it on the client to just make his change have, let's say, a part in the middle right here, but everyone else will not see that part. So that's basically how the client and server model functions, and basically all the scripts that you guys are going to be storing, so mainly the local script. So if you go ahead and make a local script right here, you will see that it opens up a local script right there. We're not going to go in there just yet, but all these scripts that are blue, now some of you guys might have a different interface, so it might be a different color, but basically local scripts usually go into one of these two, so the starter character scripts or starter player scripts. Now I know some people put them in starter pack or starter GUI, but I do like to keep them organized in here with the starter character script, so it's basically pretty neatly organized, right? And also there's a different type of scripts called the server scripts, which usually go into the server script service, which is where I keep all of my server scripts, and they basically look something like this, and they run the server code basically. So again, as I told you guys, the blue ones run the code on your own copy of the game, and the server ones run the code on everything, like the whole game, which then sends information to all the players playing, right? So basically that's the main difference between these two, and they all have their different uses and different applications, right? So we're gonna be starting off with the local script, and I'm gonna show you guys something called variables, what they are, services, and how you should access them. And then we're gonna be also using and utilizing this server script to show you guys some different changes on how this works. So we're gonna be going right into here, and I'm gonna show you guys what variables are and how you can reference them into your own code. And yeah, some of you guys need to take this slowly because this is where things start to get really confusing. So basically from this point on, we're going into Lua, which is the main coding language of Roblox, and it isn't as complex as some of you guys might think, but it does take a pretty long time to get a hang of this. And again, if I were to go ahead and get like everything that ever existed inside of Lua programming, it will take us more than 50 or 100 hours to do this. So again, if you guys are interested in learning something more in depth, where I have like specific tutorials for specific things, like specifically what variables are, specifically what the character service is, specifically what the player service is, specifically what tools are, etc., then make sure to check out the academy. That's going to be in the pinned comment below or the first link in the description. You could just go ahead and take a look at. I also have a bunch of videos with a bunch of results from our students. It's been pretty crazy, and yeah, I've had a blast running the academy. But yeah, without further ado, let's just go ahead and get back into the video. So now we're going to be going into variables and what they are. So basically, inside of the scripts, the way you will reference a variable is you would say something like, for example, local player, which is, for example, referencing to our player. So we're going to say equals to game.players.local player. Now, what this basically means is that we're referencing a player variable, which this is a variable right here, with a built-in service, which is the game.players.local player. Now, as you can see on this side, this is called the Explorer, and this is where everything is basically structured. So you have the server script service, replicated storage, replicated first, all of these workspace. So we're basically accessing this player service, and we're accessing our own player, which is the local player. Now, you cannot do this on a server script because the server script does not recognize the local player, because as I mentioned to you guys, we're making a copy from the server, and that's what the client model is, right? So a couple of other things that we can show you is basically character, like how you reference your own character, also how you can reference workspace. So basically to reference workspace, we can do local workspace equals to game.workspace. So basically what this does right here is it references the game, which is the thing we're grabbing from, which is right here, and then we're referencing the workspace. You can also do stuff like local lighting equals to game.lighting. Also, another smoother way to do them is you can do game. Let's say we want to do the server script service. Now you can put anything in here. You can put like this, like, and it will just, it's just like a reference to what this is. And also we can do local server script service equals to game get service server script service. So basically this is another way. It's similar to this, but it's this is a better method to actually, and a better practice to do it. So you do game two dots get service, and then you get, for example, the server script service. Now we don't need anything of that right now. What I'm going to show you guys is how we can detect button presses, because I know a lot of you guys want to do abilities and like cool stuff like that. So we're going to be going into basis of kind of how to detect keyboard input, because that's the most important thing that you guys should be learning. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be referencing the user input service. So we're going to UIS, which is the user input service. Now there are a lot of services that are not shown here, and basically a lot of that needs to be learned, but basically we're going to be going step by step. So the user input service, we can reference by game get service user input service. Now what this does is it basically detects all of our keyboard inputs and how we process our keyboard, right? So what we're going to be doing right now is we're going to do UIS that input began and input ended. So basically, as you can see, there's two of these. There's also input changed, but basically input began means whenever we click something and we start pressing it, that's when something will happen, right? So we're going to continue off and say connect. We're going to do function, and we're going to press enter right here while these two are closed. And also we're going to do I and E right here, and we're going to show you guys what this means in just a second. So basically we're referencing when a key is pressed, and basically we're referencing the input, and if we are using the chat. So what we're gonna do right here is we can also say are using chat right there. We can just name that are using chat, and we can do if are using chat, then return n. So what this basically means is when we're typing something, basically let's say we're typing in the chat, we're saying hi, and we have a ability on H, like we're not gonna fire off the ability while we're using the chat. So that's just basically saying if we're using the chat, then return end. So do not like run anything further than down here. And this is a connector function, meaning it will only play this line of code while we are using the user input service. And yeah, connector functions, as I mentioned, are basically functions that execute on a certain block of code. So if you guys didn't know, Lua basically runs on a line type of system where basically every line gets executed after another. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how the script loads. When you go ahead and play it, it will first of all load this, then it will load this empty line, it will load this, it will load this, then it will load this user input began, right? So again, what we can do right here is we can say if I.keycode, which is basically what we're referencing to, let's say press a keybind equals to enum.keycode, let's say .e, then so basically what this means is we're referencing the key code, and then we're referencing the E key code, which is used with the enum parameter right here, which is another more in-depth feature we're not going to go too much in because this video will be too long. But basically what we can do is we can say print E has been pressed, and basically this print function shows you something in the output right here when you go ahead and run the game. So we can go ahead and in the game right now and just go ahead and just test it out real quick. As you can see, we're running, we're doing everything normally, and if we press E, it will basically say E has been pressed. And basically when we can press E, it will show us that E has been pressed, and basically that just shows us that this function is working, and we have written up a code that presses the E and prints something into the console. Now there's also other things we can do right here. If you want to reference the mouse input, we can use user input type instead of these key codes, and we can do, let's say, mouse button 1, which is the left click, and we can say M1 has been pressed. And once we run this and we go into the game, if I press left click, you'll see it says M1 has been pressed, and we can just keep on spamming this and it will basically say the same thing, which looks pretty cool and shows us that we can even use the mouse input to go ahead and detect if we press the mouse. But we're going to be returning this back to key code E. Now let's say we do not want to, we do not want to go ahead and spam this, that make it spammable. We need a cooldown for it. So what we're using for this is going to be called debounces. So basically, to create a debounce, what you guys need to do is you need to make a new local debounce equals to false. Now this is a Boolean value, and values are something we're going to be talking about further down the line. But basically, what you need to know as this is basically set to false, we're using a variable called debounce and setting it to false. And then right here, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be saying and debounce equals to false, meaning if this is false, then it's going to go ahead and play this code. And right here, what we can do is we can say debounce. Oops, let's just revert that. Debounce equals to true, and then we're gonna add let's say task.wait 1 second, debounce equals to false. So what this basically means is that if debounce is false, it can run all of this code, but since we set it to true, it's not gonna run it after this, but after 1 second, which we put a yield of a task wait, is gonna set this to false, meaning we can go ahead and use it again. So if we go in right here and we start pressing E, as you can see, I'm just spamming E, and it's only typing it every single second because it's not gonna actually go ahead and spawn it. So if we did remove this right here, as you can see, what's going to happen right now is we can just go ahead and spam it. As you can see, it's saying times 10 times 12. We can literally just go ahead and spam the key. But if we're doing it something like this, it's going to basically, it's going to basically work something like that. And now we have a little cooldown for, let's say, our ability. So right now I'm going to show you guys how to customize certain parts. Let's say when we want to change colors, want to change the size, etc. So we're going to go ahead right here and create us a new part, which we're going to just, let's just name it part right there, leave it right there. And I'm going to show you guys how we can reference this into our own code. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to reference local part equals to, again, as I mentioned, this is located in the workspace. And I'm going to show you guys what child and parent means. So basically this part right here is a child of this workspace because as you can see, it is under it. So basically everything under this part is going to be its own child. So if I put, for example, the spawn location inside of here, the spawn location is the child of the part, and spawn location's parent is this part. So basically that's how this thing works. So basically this part's parent is workspace. So we're going to say game dot workspace find wait for child part. So basically what we're doing is we're waiting for this child right here, which is called part, and we're basically using this to reference this certain part that is located inside of the workspace. And now we can do a bunch of different things with this part instance right here. We can do something like changing its color. So we can do part dot. As you can see, when you press the dot, there's a bunch of things you can do. You can change this transparency. So we can do part dot transparency equals to 1. And when we go ahead and use this and we press E, as you can see, the part has disappeared because we have referenced the part and we set its transparency to 1. Now, as you can see, there's a bunch of properties you can modify right here. So you can modify the C frame, you can modify the reflectance, name, can collide, can touch, anchored. All of these things you can modify basically with code. We can also do something like brick color equals to brick color.new, and we can do something like really red, which is instance of a color. And when we press E, as you can see, this turns into red basically. Or we can do something like that, and then we can do part.size equals to vector3.new. So basically vector3 is used to calculate these types of sizes. So this size currently is 412. What we can do is we can paste it in right here, and we can do double this. So we can do times 2, and then we can do times 2 right here, and then we can do times 2 right here. Or we can just type in 8, like 2, and then 4 right here to just double it in size. Much easier like that. And once we go ahead into the game and we press E, as you can see, the part size has increased and it has turned into red. But the main problem is I mentioned to you guys, these changes are on the client. So we're making them on the client, meaning it's only going to affect our copy of the game. And what do I mean by this? So basically what I mean by this is that, as you can see, we're currently on the client inside of our own studio, but if we do swap to the server, as you can see, nothing has happened to the part. And why is that? It is because we're running the code on the client, because we're running this part changes on the client, and we're doing that because we're doing it inside of the local script, and basically no one else will see that this part has been enlarged or has changed colors because we have only modified the code on our own copy of the game, and everyone else will just see the regular part as it is. So basically how we can achieve something like everyone seeing this part changing while we press E is pretty simple. We're going to be using remote events and communication from the client to the server. So we're basically going to be using something like that to make sure that everyone else can observe these changes and everyone else can look at these changes. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a new remote event inside of the replicated storage, and right here we're going to be actually using this, and we're going to go ahead and do something like game.replicatedStorage.remote event fire server. So what this basically means is that once we press E, we can also remove this because we're going to be modifying this on the server. As we mentioned, we're going to be firing off this remote event, which is going to activate this certain instance inside of the game. And basically once that is activated, we're going to go into here and we're going to reference this activation. So we're going to do game.replicatedStorage remote event on server event connect function. So this is a connector function. So basically, once we fire off this server right here, it's gonna go ahead and look at this like some sort of a spark happening right here, and then we can detect this spark by using an on server event function to connect basically what happens once that spark has been initiated. So what we can do right here is we're gonna reference our player, which is basically something you get basically because you fired off this remote event from this local script. The player is already referenced in here, so it's gonna know which player has fired this because, you know, it's on the server. It needs to know which player has fired the remote event. And what we can do here is we can do the same thing. Local part equals to game.workspace wait for child part, and then we can do the same thing. Part dot brick color equals to, we can do brick color dot new, let's say purple. We can do something like a royal purple, and then we can do part dot size equals to vector3 dot new. Let's say we put 15 15 15, so just make it like a block right there, and we go ahead and fire this. As you can see, when we press E, what's gonna happen is this is gonna basically turn into a big purple block. And what's gonna happen is if we go to the server, as you can see, the whole game has observed the changes, and now any player that's observing this is gonna see this purple block, whereas if we did it inside of the local script, it's gonna only show us the changes to ourselves. Now there's another thing I want to mention in this tutorial, and we're going to be going a little bit into tweens and using tween service, and I'm going to show you guys what that is and basically how you can make these changes appear smoother. So basically, let's say the part doesn't change rapidly, but it kind of like expands smoothly, or the color changes smoothly, kind of like swaps smoothly. Now I'm not going to be going too much in depth on tweens because it will take us a bunch of time to actually go ahead and cover that. We're only going to be going into some basic stuff, but if you guys are interested in going more in depth on the tween service, mainly in particular, or just anything regardless of you know, servers, how the remote events function, you know, all these connector functions, then make sure to check out the academy link that I've showed you guys before. There's a lot of different stuff right there where you can just look around all of these lessons more in depth, because again, I cannot cover 50 hours in one video, otherwise, you know, YouTube will not be able to support that. But there's a lot of content right here that you guys can learn, and there's a bunch of different stuff that go into tweens, like what kind of tween styles there are, what kind of durations there are, the tween info, etc. But basically, I'm going to show you something cool, how we can make this part, let's say, expand in size pretty smoothly. So we're going to reference the tween service. Now, as I said, this is again an invisible service, it's not showed in here, so we're going to have to get it through code equals to tween service, basically game get service, as I taught you guys before. And we're going to be doing something called creation of a tween. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say local tween, we're making a new variable, and we're gonna say equals to tween service, so we're referencing the service, and we're gonna do two dots create, which is basically how you can create a tween. It's a built-in function inside of Roblox. And then we're gonna be referencing an instance that we're gonna be tweening, which we already set it here, which is gonna be our part. And then we're gonna have to make our new tween info dot new, and basically right here, this is the time that is gonna take for our tween to happen. So let's say we want to increase the size of our part to, like, I don't know, 20, and then if we put 2 seconds right here, it's gonna take 2 seconds for the size to increase to that certain point, right? And then also there is an easing style, which I'm gonna show you guys just a couple of them in this video. We're just gonna use linear for now, and then we're gonna do enum.easing direction out, which is basically just the regular easing direction. There we go. And then these aren't as important as of now. They're more tween styles, which I can't cover in this video because there's too long, but I'm going to show you a couple of them and how you can modify them and use them, so you guys kind of have an idea of what it is. But basically right here, this is the repeat count, so how many times this tween repeats, which we're going to put to 0 because we only want to have it happen once. Reverses, this is basically if you want the tween to reverse. So if we want to expand the part and then we want to make it size back, we're going to put false because we don't want to do that. And then also there's a delay time, which if we want to delay the tween, we're not going to be doing that. And basically we have everything set up right here. Now the only thing that is left to do is go ahead and do another comma right here, and we're gonna do these curly brackets right here, which is gonna show you what kind of property. So this is a property table, that's why we're using tables. And if you guys didn't know, tables are classified with these curly brackets right here, and basically it's gonna give us an ability to grab all of these properties from a certain part and use it. So what we can do is we can say size equals to vector3.new. Let's say we put 30, 30, 30, and then also let's just anchor this part so it doesn't like flung around, so it's just basically standing in one point. And what we can do right here is we can say tween play. Now what's gonna happen right now, guys, is basically, as you can see, this one right here, when we press E, as you can see, is gonna expand to 30, 30, 30, but it's gonna do it in a span of 2 seconds, right? Also, what we can do is we can check when this is completed by doing tween.completed connect function, and we can do print tween has been completed. So right now, as you can see, when we go in here, we can go ahead and press E, and we're going to be looking at this. Once it's completed, it's going to say tween has been completed. Now we can do basically, let's say 0.5 seconds right here, and when we go into here and just press E, it's going to do it in a 0.5 second span. So as you can see, very much quicker. And we're just going to also put it to 1, to just basically show, just look at it. I mean, I don't know, you can put it to any number you want right here. And then also there's a couple of styles that we can do. So I'm going to show you the bounce style right here, which basically looks a bit different. So as you can see the change immediately when we press E. As you can see, it kind of bounces upwards, and then just like kind of expands into it kind of looks like jello of some sorts. Also, you can do elastic, which basically is something similar, but it kind of bounces up a bit more. Yep, there we go. As you can see, that is the elastic. There's also sine, which basically goes from slow to fast. As you can see, at the end, it kind of slows down there a bit. And there's a bunch of these styles that you can use, but basically linear is the basic normal style. And now this basically, if you go in or out, basically means will the tween start from the 30. Like if I do out, it will start from 0 to 30. If I do in, it will start from the end result to the start result. It's kind of like a reversal. Then we have the repeat number. If we do, let's say 1, what's gonna happen right now is, as you can see, this is gonna happen and it's gonna repeat it once again. Also, when we can go back right here, let's put this to 0. If we put true right here to the reversal, what's going to happen is basically when we press E, it's going to reverse all the way back into there. As you can see, it reversed, like went up and reversed. And also there's this delay time. So if I press the delay right here, if I put it to 2, what's going to happen is basically I'm going to press E. It's going to wait 2 seconds. It's going to go ahead and expand, and it's going to go back, and boom, there we go. The tween has been completed after a delay of 2 seconds. We can also modify something like a part color. So we can go ahead and make a comma right here. We could do brick color equals to brick color.new, and we can put really red. And then what's gonna happen when we play this is boom. Okay, yeah, brick color came between. That is my bad. Okay, yeah, we can tween color 3, which is color 3. I do believe right here. Yeah, color equals to color 3.new, and right here what we can do is we can press this thing and we can modify it to, let's say, red right there. And once we fire this should be able to be red. As you can see, yeah, let's just turn off the reverse right there so we don't have this play like that. And we go ahead and press E. As you can see, the color smoothly went from white to red. It didn't instantly swap. It kind of went smoothly. And then also what we can do is we can basically set, you can do as many of these as you want. We can set the transparency. Let's just make sure you spell it right. Transparency equals to 1. Actually, yeah, let's just put it to 1. So as you can see, it's gonna go ahead and increase in size, and it's gonna go ahead and just disappear like that because we have put the transparency to 1. And basically we can do something like destroying the part after it has finished tweening. So let's just put 3 seconds right here, and we can do something like debris. So again, debris service is a service that's not inside of here. So we can do game.debris, add item, we can do part, and then we can do after how many seconds. Let's just put 0 because the tween has already completed. So what this does is it's something similar to part destroy. It's the same as this. So this basically just destroys this part that we have right here. But debris service is much more efficient and it is much better. You don't want to be using destroy because it's not a good practice. And basically what we're going to be doing right now is we're going to go ahead into here. Once we press E, as you can see, let's just observe this part right here. We can select it. As you can see, we press E. It's expanding pretty slowly, up. As you can see, boom, there's no part anywhere to be found in workspace. Nowhere in the server too. As you can see, there's no part anywhere existing because we have completely removed it from the server. Yep, there we go. So yeah, guys, that's basically gonna be it for all the beginner coding you need to know to just basically get into this coding world and what it is. It is kind of cool, and there's a lot more stuff that goes into it. But you guys have learned the client and server replication. You guys have learned something about tween service, variables, connector functions, and a bunch of stuff right here. This video was pretty long, so hopefully you guys sat and watched the whole video because I do believe it has a lot of info, especially for you new guys just starting out to learn how to go ahead and code and just basically get into this world of scripting. But yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe and turn notifications on, and also make sure to check out the academy, which is going to be the first link in the description. All right, guys, so hopping into the academy right here, I'm going to show you guys just some basic things to just let you know what you should expect. So basically right here, we got this channel right here where I just throw off some speeches or something to just motivate people off or stuff like that. Then we also have the how to verify thing. So basically you just go ahead and verify with your account and you get access to all the roles. So tier 1, tier 2. There's also like start here, and there's also a bunch of wins right here that they have. So as you can see, these are just some small wins. Rusty closed it. This is some crazy game he did, and this is also Tommy who made death row, and a lot of stuff that we have right here. As you can see, there's just a bunch of things of these students just winning every single day. Yeah, also there's the announcements, and also there are a bunch of course channels right here, which you can see. We have the mentality course, we have the commissions, Lua Zero to Hero, fast track, advanced Lua, modeling, animations, UI, effects, TikTok advertising, data sets. We have also recorded lives. We have also all packs for tier 2, so you can go ahead, if you get tier 2, you can get all the packs from vuukstudios.com, which would be a lot more than just getting the tier 2, so it's a pretty good deal right there. And then also we have the tier 1, tier 2 chats. We also have introductions, some academy wins channels right here. We also have some creations channel right here, and then also we have a ticket system, so if you guys need any help one-on-one, we can go ahead and help you out right here. Also anything you might have a question of, basically. So yeah, guys, if you do go onto the first link in the description, it's going to show you something like this, and you just can see all of the things that we do right here. It's just a lot of student wins right there. And also you can go ahead and select which kind of tier you want to do. If you want to do tier 1 or tier 2, there's all of these different benefits for each tier. There's also a bunch of reviews that I have right here. I've made a huge jump in Roblox Lua, how to earn money. I can sell my own assets. I can understand how commissions work. Just bought to see the commission scores. It is good. It will help you a ton. There's a bunch of reviews that we have right here. There's also just a couple things that, like, you know, questions that people might have asked and stuff like that. And also you can affiliate other people and just become an affiliate to get some discounts. So it is pretty cool, and basically you just press on join and you can take a look at what we have inside of the academy. But without further ado, hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you boys in the next one. Peace.